Hallelujah, you have won the victory. Hallelujah, you have won it all for me. Death could not hold you down. You are the risen King, and you're seated in majesty. Oh, you are the risen King. Hallelujah, you have won the victory. Hallelujah, hallelujah, you have won it all for me. Death could not hold you down. You are the risen King of glory. You are the risen King, and you're seated in majesty. Seated in majesty. Oh, you are the risen King. Our God is risen. He is alive. He's found the victory. He reigns on high. Yes. Our God is risen. He is alive. He's won the victory. He reigns on high. Our God is risen. He is alive. He's won the victory. He reigns on high. Our God is risen. He is alive. He's won the victory. Yeah, he reigns on high. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. He's won. You have won the victory. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You have won it all for me. Hallelujah, you won it all. Hallelujah.
Thank you so much,
Hallelujah.
Shantice. It's wonderful. God has certainly won it all for us. I'm Dr. John Paul James, and welcome to Living Life with Dr. John Paul James. Now, listen, everybody has been talking about entering into a new season of relationships, a new season of love and understanding. But there is something that we really need to pay attention to. And last week, we probably discovered some things, and that was that sometimes we are in relationships with people who have mental illnesses. The relationships are going through a little turmoil because in reality, there is some mental illness there. One of the things we talked about was being narcissistic and narcissistic tendencies in a relationship. So today, we want to shed some light on narcissistic tendencies in a relationship. This is going to be key, and this is important for you because in the beginning stages of dating, people are often on their best behavior. So How can you tell if someone is a true narcissistic person or not, or just trying to make a good impression? Now, every new romantic relationship comes with its own unknowns. And so one of the most important things that you want to become aware of early in a relationship is whether the person you're dating is a narcissist or not. Now, having a relationship with a narcissist can be unraveling and confusing and honestly downright messy, as relationship can suddenly become emotionally manipulative and also abusive. And so narcissists are all not all the same, and they may vary in their behavior. So, but luckily, there are red flags that you can look out for, and you can also watch out for. Let's talk a little bit about what are narcissists first. Now, let's take a step back to define what a narcissist really is. Narcissism is a personality disorder that's often a result of the combination of genetics and one's upbringing. Now, people with narcissistic personalities disorders are not grounded in their own personalities, first of all. They are largely reactive, drawing from your emotional response, which they get through a series of manipulative behaviors such as grandiosity, antagonism, and also attention seeking. Now, narcissists experience extremely low levels of empathy and do not consider the repercussions of their behaviors towards others. Now, their relationships are shallow, which means that you are merely a means to an end, but you're never the end. And the end is satisfaction of boosted self-esteem or energy while lowering your own. Now, pay attention, because you'll notice that when you're in the presence of narcissists, you'll feel drained and you also feel very tired. Now, this is very true for a lot of people. They're in relationships with people, and they often feel very drained, and they often feel very tired, and they really don't know why, right? So let's go over some of the common narcissistic traits that you will encounter. Number one is excessive obsessive bragging in an exhibition of grandiosity. That's one. Now, this is one of the main signs of narcissism. Now, that's particularly so to show a showy behavior is what they're going to show, and it's done by acting in a condescending manner towards others. The second is going to be self-centeredness. Now, as a true narcissist has discarded for others' thoughts, feelings, possessions, and understand this, time and even physical space. I'm going to go back over that again because that's important, right? They're going to disregard for others, number one, thoughts, number two, feelings, number three, possessions, number four, time, and number five, physical space. Now, they'll use you without hurt or any hint or consideration or sensitivity. They're not going to feel hurt that they don't have any sensitivity or consideration to whatever's going on in your life. Now, caring for others is only done if it's for their benefit. Now, for example, keeping up with a good image or a perfect family member or friend with good deeds that later is used as a leverage to get what they want. Now, they'll be good to you as long as they're going to get a benefit out of it. It's going to be used as leverage because it's going to make them look good. It's not that they care. It's not that they care now, but they're using it as leverage because they want to look good. Now, narcissists dominate a conversation. That's the other thing. Now, listen to the way they speak. Has your date spoken only about themselves all night? That's a question. A pathological narcissist loves to brag about their accomplishments and their achievements. Narcissists are generally excited about their envy-worthy activities. Now, there's an excessive focus on personal ideals and concerns, as well as outer appearances and materialistic achievements. Now, I'm sure we've all been in relationships where people are very materialistic. Now, we got to understand this. There are signs that you really need to be looking out for. Now, skin deep charm. This is important. Narcissists often appear to be very alluring and attractive, and especially during the early stages of a relationship. They'll often become very charismatic and work hard to get your attention. They'll masterfully flatter you and make you feel special. And then they'll seduce you with vices such as flirting, gifts, dinners, sex, etc. But make no mistake about this. This is all a part of persuading you to get you to give them what they want. Now, I want you to remember that they seek your energy in this way, but you have to be willingly give it to them. Now, they're also people of constant attention seeking. Narcissists draw meaning in their lives through being needed. They fulfill that need by taking up as much space in your life as they can. They'll often seek to fill their emptiness through physical and emotional intimacy. And this is important because most time people really think that somebody loves them. You must really love me because you're so intimate with me. You want to have intimacy with me, have sex with me. You're so emotional. That person probably could be narcissistic. Not so much that they love you. They're really baiting you to get what they want. Unreliability. That is also another point of it. Narcissists don't give a second thought when it comes to breaking promises or appointments. They're unreliable. You make plans, but you never know if a narcissist will show up actually or not. And so when you're ready and already living with a narcissist, you'll find your schedule and routine constantly disrupted and constantly change. Now, a lot of relationships are in trouble because that is one of the greatest arguments, is that your schedule is always disrupted. Instant gratification is another level. This is a common trait in every narcissist. They expect to receive whatever they want the moment they want it. Not only that, but if they want you to give it to them, then you must. And when you want to test this person, state this. This is a thing I want you to do. No, let me think. Now, when you state that to a narcissist, if their immediate reaction is to be aggressive and throw a childlike temper tantrum, then you're likely dealing with a narcissistic personality. Remember what I just told you. When they want you to give them something, say no, let me think about it. And when you say no, let me think about it, and they throw a tantrum, right then and there, you're dealing with a mental illness, which probably is going to be narcissistic. Now, in fact, when they don't really get what they want from you, the narcissist will easily become angry or depressed. The other thing is that they require constant line of communication. Now, a narcissist expects you to answer their texts or calls immediately. And if you don't answer their call, then they will call you multiple times and perhaps try to reach you via others. They'll use others as mediums to try to get to you, right? Because you didn't answer their call. And their goal is to condition you to be constantly looking out for their phone calls and for their texts. So they'll call other people. Did you hear about them? Did you hear from them? They didn't call me back. Remember what they're trying to do. Condition you to look out for their calls and for their texts. And you have to call them back. You have to text them back. A high sense of entitlement is another area. Yes. Narcissists expect a preferential treatment from others. They need it in order to feel special. That person is always trying to feel special. A narcissist will want you to foresee any needs that they may have and want you, honestly, to tend to every last one of them fully. That's what they want you to do. Now, regardless of your feelings, regardless of your time, regardless of your energy, pay attention to how your date treats service people. Now, I know we've all been out and seen some horrible treatment of service people, right? Now, service people like waitresses, waiters during a date. Pay attention to how they do it. Now, two more things I want to make sure I get to you. Gaslighting. Now, a pathological narcissist manipulates you into no longer trusting your own view of reality. Now, if you're dating a narcissist, what they'll do is they'll do anything in their power to make you believe that they are right and you are absolutely wrong. They'll do everything to prove that they're right and you're wrong. Sudden emotional detachment is another area I want you to be concerned with. Narcissists have a distinctive strategy. They start off as seemingly the perfect partner in the first week of dating. They flatter you, build you up, and make you feel validated and special. Then suddenly become cold and distant towards you. They tear down your self-confidence with their unhealthy cycle of manipulation. So be mindful of emotional detachment. Now, this is the most telling sign, but it is unfortunately only apparent when you've already entered into the cycle of manipulation. So know that narcissists constantly create drama to get your attention, and they'll blame the drama on you. Narcissists are both survivalist and predatory by nature. Their goal is to create an ongoing channel that draws you from them to you. So, what do? One of the things I need you to do is simply say no. Narcissists need to feed off your emotional reactions to sustain their codependency. So emotional reactions from you such as terror, chaos, sympathy, compassion, massive amounts of admiration, overwhelming loss, or godlike worship are what they live for. So how do you handle that? Say no. Just simply say no. And make sure you have a support system yourself. As a matter of fact, you've got to get some professional help yourself. Now, there's something before we call out our first guest up. There's some things that I really want you to understand, and that is this. There's something called a waning phase. When you talk about a narcissistic person, over time or sometime overnight, the honeymoon phase comes to an end, and instead of growing closer in our authenticity, understand this. This is the time when the narcissist resistance and vulnerability starts to come through. Your partner begins to notice your less perfect qualities, and when they do that, they'll make frequent comments about necessary improvements to you.
Oh my God, it's so true.
They'll start talking about what you need improvements in.
Yeah.
And then there's a discarding phase. This I really want you to get this. Many relationships with narcissists end in disregard for the other partner. Even if they look back on the relationship with fondness, narcissists typically will not accept any of the blame for how things turned out. And if there's abuse involved, sometimes the partner will be the one to end the relationship. They will disregard a relationship with no problem at all when you talk about being with a narcissist. So you got to understand how to deal with that, understand what to do with that. Now, with that being said, I want to call up a special guest today, and that is Jeffrey Anderson. I want to call Jeffrey Anderson up. We're going to have a great conversation, man-to-man talk. Good to see you, Jeff. Again, you're looking great. Man-to-man talk about what we just talked about. Being in a relationship with a woman who has narcissistic tendencies. You've heard me talk a few minutes ago about some of the things that happen. Now, here's what I really want to get into. Skin deep charm. They are alluring, they are attractive, especially during the early stages of the relationship, and they are very charismatic. They work hard to get your attention. They flatter you, they make you feel special. They seduce you a lot, flirting with you. Sex. They'll give you, like I said, yes. They give you lots of great sex, dinners, but make no mistake, they're persuading to get you to give them what they want. What do you feel about that? Have you seen that, first of all?
Yes, I have seen it, and I have fell for it in my younger years.
Okay.
So I'm sure, but we all have, those kind of disorders too. I think so. But during my younger years, I just fell for it and always went for that, for that kind of person.
All right. So when you say we all have
Narcissistic types of personalities, in some instances, I think we all have that.
I don't disagree with you. I totally agree with you. I think we all have that. The problem comes with any mental disorder is that when it becomes detrimental either to yourself or to someone else.
Yes.
So when it comes to problem, let's talk about self-centeredness.
Yes.
Disregard for others' thoughts and feelings and possessions. Disregard for your time. Disregard for your physical space.
Yes.
And without a hint of consideration or sensitivity. So how do you handle when you meet a woman and she seems to be self-centered?
For me, being in the military, I'm big on time.
Okay.
I like to be on time. When I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm usually there on time. And I would like to, be wherever I want to go on time. And as far as being self-centered, it's kind of a turnoff. But, sometimes I want to see if it's like that all the time. You know, there are times when you meet someone and you might feel that they're self-centered the first time, but you kind of, well, me, I try to give it, 2 or 3 days to find out if it's constantly like that. And
You
if it
mean
is,
when they really have a disregard for your time,
For my
and for your
time.
physical space and all those
Yes.
things? Now, what about the part when we talked about they keep up a good image, a perfect family member? Like they'll keep up a good image, like they're the best woman for you in the world. If they're around company, they'll serve you. They'll kiss you, they'll touch you.
trying to get me in trouble.
They'll do all those things when they're around people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only because they want people to look at them in a particular way, but that's not really who they are. How do you think men should really deal with that? What would be a suggestion from you?
I think men need to first learn how to recognize it.
Okay.
First of all, the advice that I would give men is to make mental notes of the behavior and see if it's consistent.
Okay, so so do you think men have a problem being able to pull away once they've been that woman is charismatic?
Yeah.
She's giving them a bunch of
Yes.
sex.
Yes.
She's in their life.
Yes.
You find it difficult. Men
Yes.
find it difficult to pull away.
I think it takes time, and as you mature, you can, learn how to say no. And I'll say when I was younger, I didn't know how to say no.
You did not say that.
No.
Okay, I will. Okay. All right, that's acceptable. Being able to pull away. You know that she's self-centered. You know that it's all about her. The perfect woman is showing up around everybody, and it seems as if now to me, when she has this great image and she's there all the time, but only when people are around, and I gotta look for you and ask for time other than that. I don't know. Don't you think that's the time for us to start pulling back our emotions?
If you are a man with low self-esteem, you might not know. You might enjoy all that attention. So,
True.
it's hard to, if you find a woman who's giving you all the sex you want, she's giving you all the attention you want, it might be something that you seek and want at the time.
Now, yeah, mommy. I think your mommy should. No, the alarm would go off for me. If you're giving me a lot of sex, you're giving me a lot of attention, I think the alarm's gonna go off.
At 35, the alarm didn't go off.
Okay.
At 45, I was, now that I'm in my 50s, yeah, it does go off.
Yeah, it's like they promise you that people say, well, you can get it anytime, you get it all the time, whatever you want. That's not always true. That's not always true. And I think that what you're doing is you are manipulating me. You are manipulating me when you're doing that. And understand this, you'll only do it for a while. You only do it for a while. You're gonna stop doing it after a while, and I'm gonna be left wanting
More.
and you're not gonna give me more because you're gonna either stop coming over, or if you're there, you're gonna take 3 hours if you're gonna do it.
For me, I really haven't experienced many women like that, so.
Okay. How about how do you think men feel about women who dominate a conversation?
It's annoying.
Where's the wit at?
Men will tune out after a while if he doesn't get to say anything. If he can't, to me, if you're having a conversation, it needs to be some back and forth for it to be a conversation. If you're just talking at me, men are going to check out.
All right, so what about an excessive focus on personal ideals and concerns? Now, this is really it. Outer appearances and materialistic achievements. Now, there are a lot of materialistic people in the world. I mean, there's one thing about building wealth. Like, I think I was saying it to a gentleman who's a little older than me today, and that is older people kind of take care of their clothing. They can have a suit that's been on, they have for 20 years. They can have shoes they had for 15 years. Whereas a younger person is a fad.
Mm-hmm.
They get everything based on a fad. Where older, that's not something that I would do. Well, I'm older than you, so there are things that I probably wouldn't do, right? But you do come up against people who are extremely materialistic. It's all about the latest bag that she's wearing, and she wants you to get it for her. She wants you to be impressed about her new wig.
Amen.
How do you feel when your lady has 18 wigs? I mean, what would you do? What would you do if there were 2 drawers full of wigs? I mean, you went into the bedroom. There's an underwear drawer, and then there's a wig drawer. I mean, how would you feel?
Wigs don't go in the drawer.
Wigs don't go in the drawer. Oh, they go in the heads. Those heads.
Yes.
Those foam heads. I remember when I was younger. You know, Mama had a phone, maybe 2. I only saw 2. And the wig was on there, and then, she would brush it out and all those other things. I don't know how I would feel if I walked in. There are some women who keep wigs in the drawer, though. I've seen that. They keep wigs in the drawer. I've had a couple of dates that had wigs in the drawer.
I've had one who kept one on the sink in the bathroom. And when I went in the bathroom late at night to use the bathroom, it scared me.
You know what? We
Get in trouble. I'm not talking about nobody's
Let me tell you something. I gotta tell you the truth, though. If I never see her hair, I don't think I can continue to date her because I don't know if she has hair. I don't know if she has no hair on the side. I don't know if she has no hair at the top. She's always had a wig on. I can't date her because I don't know what her hair looks like.
That's right.
And if she always wears, her makeup is always sharp. I don't know what her face looks like. Like, who are you? If you take that makeup off, will I recognize you? Will I run? What's going on? So how do you feel about that?
I think we all want to see our women natural at some point. We want to see their hair. We want to see them without makeup.
Same with men.
And even at their worst, we want to see them.
Wearing them.
Yeah. And I did hear this about women always want to say men do the same thing, but very seldom do you see a man. Back in the day when we were coming up, men did not wear. You didn't see a lot of men wearing toupees. They called them toupees back then. Now the hair units that they wear now, we didn't wear those, and so we were more natural than anything, right? Mm-hmm. What women have always wore another person's face and somebody else's hair. That's been forever, and that's not a down thing. I'm not doing a down thing. I'm saying, how do you feel though? Would you ask her to let you see her face?
Yes, of course.
You would. You would say, I want to see your face with no makeup.
I probably wouldn't.
How would you say it though, Jeff?
But I wouldn't date someone who wore a lot of makeup.
Okay. What about if she's always had her hairpiece on? Would you ever ask to see her hair?
I think no, I wouldn't. I would hope she would want to show it to me without me asking.
She probably want to see if I had false teeth. I mean,
well,
I think a woman want to know if I had
people
dentures
are
or
very
not.
personal about what might be going on with their hair, and especially women. If it's going to affect their self-esteem and stuff like that, they might not want to show it. They might feel embarrassed. And they have to feel very comfortable with you to expose themselves.
What's safe?
All right, so let's talk about unreliability for a moment. Let's talk about that. And I want you guys to remember something too, and that is that men and women can feel the very same things in terms of another person. They want to know, who am I with?
Yes.
Right? From the physical to the to the real attitude, to the real personality. Everybody wants to know who they're really with. Right? It's like if some men wear larger clothing to hide parts of them, that they're not really proud of. So women have things that they hide, men have things that they hide, right? But everybody at some point wants to know, who am I really dealing with and what do you really look like? All right, let's talk about unreliability, breaking promises.
Yeah.
How do you think men deal with women and broken promises? Now I know women deal with a lot of men
Yes. I was gonna say
with
that.
broken promises. More so, we normally hear more about that than we hear women.
Yes.
But how do you think men feel about that?
They're probably disappointed. After if you break their promises a lot, with a guy, he's probably not going to trust you. He's probably not going to even rely on you that much, you know.
Okay, so what would you say to a woman, if you had a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and she came to you and she was talking about, Dad, he breaks his promise, he never does what he says. What advice would you give her?
If it's my daughter, I'm gonna tell her she better run.
Would you really?
Yes, I would tell her if you really like or love this guy, to have the conversation about your feelings, let him know how you feel, and if he continues to do it, he's just not for you.
Gaslighting is something that people say a lot. That pathological narcissist manipulates you into no longer trusting your own view of reality. And if you're dating one, they'll be doing anything in their power to make you believe that they're right and you're wrong. How do you feel about that? Now, again, you being a man and you had a daughter, and your daughter's trying to tell you what's going on in her relationship. You really don't want to get involved in a relationship, but you do have some fatherly advice. What would that be like?
If she's being gaslighted, again, I would go back to having a conversation. She would need to have a conversation and express her feelings about how she's feeling. And then she's going to have to make a decision. But as a father, I'm going to be there to support her either way.
Now, normally we hear about gaslighting, we don't hear it in the sense that we're talking about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
We hear it in a very different sense, right? Oh, they're gaslighting me, right? They say it in a very different sense than what we're saying. But in actuality, gaslighting has everything to do with manipulating you.
Yes.
And making you feel like you're wrong and the other person is right. And but I also feel like when you're gaslighted, it's aimed specifically to keep you in a holding cell.
It is, but also sometimes it's hard to figure out when you're being gaslighted.
Why would you say that, Jeff?
Because you can get someone. Well, I don't want to get too personal, but a few relationships ago, I felt like I was being gaslighted. I was always being told that it was something wrong, or I was doing something wrong, or I wasn't meeting her expectations. And for a while, it made me feel a certain kind of way. It made me feel, like I was losing my self-esteem. So I was, starting to feel bad and started to question myself. But I come to find out that, it wasn't me, or it wasn't 100% me. And I had to, point the blame back onto her. And eventually, in that relationship, I just, I ended up leaving.
All right, so let's talk about the need for constant communication. Now I'm going to say this. They want you to answer every call, every text, right? And if you don't do it, they're upset with you. There's a penalty that you're going to pay. It's almost like mommy's going to beat you because you didn't, or daddy's going to beat you, whether it's a male or female. It happens that way. I'm saying it because I'm talking man to man. So in talking man to man, it seems as if or Dr. James being hard on women. No, because you're a man. I'm talking man to man. How would you feel when that woman that you're seeing has a problem because you couldn't come to the phone?
I would try to accommodate at first, but over time it could be a pain. It's going to be a pain because I'm a busy person. I'm at work, and when I'm at work, I'm not allowed to have a phone in the office. So there's going to be times when I'm busy and I'm not going to be able to answer the phone.
All right, so let's turn it around. You're the one who don't answer phone calls. She calls and you don't answer. She calls and you don't text. So.
Guilty.
Guilty. Yeah, I can say we've all done that, right? So how do you feel when she talks to you, if a female talks to you about you're not answering your phone, you're not texting? Are you irritated? Or because when we don't want people to say things to us, we react in anger. Because we use anger to get people off of us.
I try to be honest about why I didn't answer the text or the phone call. Sometimes I'll just say I just I just didn't feel like talking, and I will apologize.
Jeff, are you honest? You be honest.
I try to be.
But you said that you tell them you don't feel like talking.
Sometimes I'm just not in this, especially if I get off work and all I did at work was talk. Like your job, you talk all day. And sometimes when you get home, you just might want a minute.
So you don't say, hey, I need a minute.
I will
Let me
text-
call you back.
I'll text and say I'll call you back.
Is it just one line, I'll call you back, or do you say, listen, I need a moment?
I don't say all at the moment. I probably should. But I just say I'll call you back.
You just say, I'll call you back.
Yeah.
How do you think people feel when you do that, though? If they're in love with you, they want to talk to you, and you say, I'll call you back.
It depends on if I have already discussed it. I try to be upfront in the beginning about, if it comes up, I try, to at least talk about it, when we're in a good space, and try to just, inform them that how I am, and some people already figure it out sometimes.
All right, let's talk about something like this. It's not that woman needs any money from you. She's able to take care of herself.
Mm-hmm.
She provides for herself. However, would you be the type of guy that would pay for the trip, even though she could?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Well, because I'm a man, and I'm a gentleman. If I ask her to go on a trip, I'm probably going to, foot the bill.
So that's you're thinking of a man, and that's what you do with a woman.
I just think I would do it. I mean, we could share the cost, but
No, I'm not questioning that. That's fine. I want to know: are you like that across the board? Whether it's your friend, it could be your guy friend, it could be your cousin,
not
it could
across
be
the
anybody.
board, only with my lady.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Everybody don't get that treatment.
Now I'm a little different.
That would be a fool.
No. You many things. Now,
I mean, I'm gonna say they're a fool.
well, here's the thing.
If you have the means to do that for everyone,
Well, no, I wouldn't do it. Okay, so there are certain people. I'm sure I wouldn't do it for everybody, but
okay.
even if you're a friend of mine, and I probably would every now and then be like, hey, it's okay, I got you. Because on the next thing, I think that's what you'll do. I probably do that so I can teach how I want a person to treat me.
Okay. I mean, I have done it with friends, with some of my close friends. I'll pay for concerts and trips. I mean, not trips, but for concerts and dinner and stuff like that. But they have to be someone that I value and who I think would, do the same thing for me.
That's why I said that.
Okay.
Because that's the kind of thing that I want people to say.
Yes.
That it's not all about me.
No, it's not.
Right. That's the point I wanted to bring out. Because remember, we talked a lot about the woman and some of the things that she probably would do wrong. But what I want to do is balance it out and say, hey, as a man, we shouldn't just think in one zone. We should really open up a little more. And because if you did, I'm afraid that when you say, oh, I only do that for my woman, there is a purpose for that. I want her to give me this. I want her to do this to me. So if you're just a nice person and you do it for people that you love, that's different.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the point I want to bring out, and that's how I wanted to make sure that people saw you before you left the show.
It's all good.
Since we talk about being narcissistic, I didn't want them to think that you're gonna take a woman, take advantage of a female. Yeah, baby, I'll pay for everything. You just make sure you give me this.
No, I don't expect anything in return.
No, I know you may not,
Oh, okay.
but because we said it
Okay.
the way we said it, I just wanted to make sure we corrected it. All right.
Thank you. Don't make me look like a fool.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't do that. You're a good guy. I don't want to do that. Let's talk about sudden emotional attachment. Narcissists have a tendency to have a distinct strategy. They start off seemingly the perfect partner for the first week or so while they're dating, and then they'll flatter you, they'll build you up, they'll make you feel validated and special, and then suddenly become cold and distance towards you. And so they tear down your self-confidence with unhealthy cycle of manipulation.
Yes.
What do you do?
Leave.
Straight up, leave.
Now remember, they're survivalist and also they're predatory in nature.
Yes.
Now this could be a woman or a man, and this is a good opportunity for me to bring up a woman. Since we no, you can say
Yes,
there.
it is.
Yeah, all right. This is a good opportunity to bring up a woman. We have Tamara in the building. Going to bring her up. Tamara, come on up. It's great to have you here in the show. You're looking lovely as usual. Please have a seat. Now, Tamara, I've got to ask you some of the same things that I asked Jeff.
Okay.
And listen, you can be as hard on the men as Jeff and I have been on the women.
Yes.
Right, yeah. You just go ahead.
Hard on the women. I wasn't hard.
Okay.
He wasn't, I was.
Oh, he
I
was.
I did it because I found out, you know, in the scripture, things are exaggerated. And they're exaggerated for a purpose. Like the stories that you read, Jesus is doing something. They exaggerate the story for a purpose because they really want you to get a point. So when you talk to a therapist, one of the things they'll do is that they'll take you all the way over there because what they want to know is what your real answer is. Not what you want me to hear, but who you really are. Right? So there are some things that in life, when you're talking to a person, you probably should push the envelope a little bit. Because you really want to know the real person. I think a lot of times we're fooled in relationships because we don't get the real person. We get their representative.
Exactly.
You seem so sweet, you seem so kind, you're so charismatic, and really you're not. Right? You could be depressed. Let's leave narcissism for a moment alone. You can have depression, and depression can show up with anger. Right? A person can really feel like you're bipolar, and actually you have ADHD. Some of the same ADHD can mirror some of the same tendencies of a bipolar person, right? In terms of your mood and things of that nature. So there's some things that can show up. However, a black and white thinker is a total different scenario. They don't have any gray. Black and white thinker, everything is over the top for them, and they probably will feel like you're attacking them. In a lot of cases when you're really not. You're probably seeking an understanding, but they'll feel attacked. So a lot of things are going on. So in relationships, what's difficult is we don't always know what to look for. Right? So I'm going to ask you some of the same things that I asked Jeff, and I want you to do it all from your femininity.
Okay.
I want you to do it from your femininity. So you see a man, there's excessive, obsessive, bragging. He exhibits grandiosity. And so we know those are signs of narcissism. But also, a person can show grandiosity and be bipolar.
Okay.
Right? Those kind of things happen. Let's look at self-centeredness for a moment. I asked Jeff this. I want to know how you feel. Self-centeredness comes from a place of disregard for others' feelings, thoughts, possessions, time, physical space, without a hint of consideration or sensitivity. They don't care. And if they care, it's only for their benefit. As a woman, how do you feel when you find a man like that? Look how Jeff's looking at you. He's waiting for you to answer. How do you feel?
You know how she feels. She gone.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel challenged.
Challenge?
I feel challenged. I have a tendency of trying to get out. Let me just say I've dealt with someone that's like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a tendency of trying to get them to see their mindset that's not so great. I try to get them to see not to be so self-centered. So it's challenging. However, it can be draining because you get tired of hearing about them all the time.
Yes.
All right, so let's take it to another level. When we talk about self-centeredness, we also talked about they can become the ideal perfect mate, like the perfect family member, the perfect friend, and they'll do deeds that are later used for their leverage, though. So while Jeff is around, he'll be attentive. He'll make it seem like you're the best thing in the world, and when Jeff leaves, he's not attentive. You know, he's doing it because he also wants to use it for leverage. How do you feel about that?
I would feel used. Like,
feel used?
I would feel used. I would feel not valued.
So what would make a beautiful lady like yourself? Because you're I've always told you that you're beautiful. What would make a beautiful lady like you stay in a relationship like that though? What would make you do that?
Oh, good. That's a good question. I guess for me, I'm just a person like, I always look for the good in someone. So even though they may carry those type of characteristics, I always try to find something in them that I like them, that has attracted me to them. So if I'll try to weigh the pros and the cons, and if what I like is more, if I feel like I can deal with it, if I feel like I can, if I can make it work in a sense.
So remember, Tamara, you said that relationships can become very draining.
Yeah, it can.
So you're kind of going in that area for me. It's like, so you're saying, well, I can tolerate that.
I think for me, I have.
Did it drain?
It has drained me.
Okay, so what's the difference between the Tamara then and the Tamara now? Jeff said, when I was 35, he said, I tolerated some things. He said, but in the age I am now, I don't. He said, I'm done with that. Are you the same?
Honestly speaking, no.
What's the
So,
difference?
because I think, no, yeah, I mean, I own my truth, so no issue. It's just, I've come to a place where I know that in that relationship, I know I deserve better, I can do better. And so it gets to a point where it's becoming too draining, too much, then I kind of fall back. And I'm like, okay, it's time for me to separate myself. It's time for me to let this go because it's not working.
Okay, narcissist dominate conversation. So, has your date only spoken about himself all night long? A pathological narcissist loves to brag about their own accomplishments, their achievements. Now listen, it's okay to talk about what you're doing, your vision, because to be in love with someone, you have to kind of share. You have to share goals, right? And vision. So it's okay to talk about yourself. I found that if I say anything about achievements or goals, people kind of go down because it's kind of like a mirror that says what they're not.
Exactly.
That's different. All right, so I don't want people to walk around and say, well, I'm not going to talk about my accomplishments. No, you need to, because you need to know where you're going. And you need to know if that person is ready and prepared to go with you, the distance. So the things, narcissists generally are excited about their own envy-worthy activities. There's an excessive focus on personal ideals and concerns, as well as outer appearances and materialistic achievements. Now, let's go back to something, because I've really, really exaggerated with wigs. And I really, really exaggerated with makeup. I'm telling you I did. I don't want you to look at it and say, that's terrible. No, I did that.
Yes.
Now, let me say this again. No, really, because you got some men, their teeth aren't real. You got some men, and they do wear hair units now. I did not know that some of
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that they can have dreads like yours. It's not even theirs. It's not even the guy's dreads.
I put them in.
I didn't even know the guys they're not the dreads. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's not even their curls. This is mine. These are my curls. But it's not even their curls. So I really exaggerated on that. And I also didn't know that some men, no, we do. I've used it in the past where, you darken your beard or something like that. But there are some men that if they took that color out, you wouldn't know who they are, right? So men do the same things as women do. How would you feel about a man that did that and you didn't recognize him after he took that Beijing out his beard, after his hair unit was off? Suppose you're sitting next to Jeff right now, and he pulled this part off. You met him like that, and then he pulls it off. You know, how would you feel?
No, am I in a relationship with this guy, or it's just?
It doesn't matter. You never even knew what he looked like. He never even showed you his real self.
So.
Would you feel duped?
That's a good question because I wear extensions, et cetera, et cetera. So, however, if he made me aware that that's what he does or got going on, okay. But if I'm just completely blind and he just all of a sudden, I'm be like, wait a minute. Like, what's really good? What else do I need to know?
True. Now, Jeff said that he would want a woman to show him, and I said the same thing, what she really looks like without the makeup, what she really looks like without any hair, any extra hair.
Right.
What does it really look like? Because I said, I don't know, you could be bald right here, you could be bald at the top. That I need to decide. I feel like you've taken away my ability to decide whether I want to accept that or not. Yes, sir.
But I also said that she has to trust you to want to show you that.
Yeah, you did say that.
Yes.
Jeff said that.
Because it's going to take a moment for her to
To
feel
expose herself,
comfortable. Yeah.
to feel comfortable.
Yeah. Probably
All
not
right.
the makeup, but with the hair.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna disagree with you, Jeff. What I'm saying though is, if you take away a person's ability to choose, they will feel duped. Now, what I don't want to do is get into a relationship and I don't show her the real me, and when she sees it, you're ready to go because you feel like that's not what you wanted. I would be extremely hurt.
Well,
That's like if I had on a bodysuit and kept my belly in and all the kind of things, or I had something on that made me seem like I was, really built, which I don't. Believe me, I don't. But if that was what it was, and you finally saw it, I took away again your ability to choose. How do you feel about that, as a woman?
I mean, taking away my ability to choose in terms of how one looks, yeah, I would feel duped. However, if I'm in a relationship with this person, and of course, I mean, nowadays you can, me, because I do hair, I can kind of sense or see a little bit is possible, but if I'm into them and then they finally trust me enough to show me that this is what I'm looking like, then if I'm in love with them, I'm going to accept that. I'm going to feel, like, dang, I mean, I wish he would have told me sooner. However, you know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny? In my business, doing body contouring and a bunch of other things, I could do lashes, right? Just put mink lashes on you, teeth whitening, all the other things that I really should be doing with people. And I was thinking about something for a moment. You start getting gray eyelashes, and I was thinking to myself, should I put some lashes on or something that was my eyes are turning gray, my eyelashes turning gray? But if you found out that they weren't real, how would you feel if a man showed up and you found out that they weren't real?
Again,
The lashes.
The man.
I will feel duped.
Take them
However,
off, baby. Take them off.
he's,
So
it's not because,
now y'all are being unfair to men, because you said that women can wear them and you're fine. But if a man put them on, you guys don't like that.
I would say I wouldn't like, I mean, if it's enhancing what he looks like, okay, then I understand why you doing what you doing.
No,
Now, you just being extra.
Remember what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you what you're dealing with.
Mhm.
Now, if I decide to enhance it, knowing me, I'm going to ask you to help me enhance it. That's something we're going to do together. You're not going to feel duped because I'm going to ask you to help me. Right? That's just going to be it. We're not going to play any games, because later on you're not going to tell me, you're fake, you're not being real, that's not who you really are, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to play those games. I want you to participate in my change.
And that's why I said, if he communicates with me, well, I got this going on, that going on, then okay, I'm a kind of see the visual. But if it's just like out of the blue, yes, I'm gonna be a dupe, but again, it all depends on how I feel about that person. Because I'm not I'm not gonna just like, oh, well.
You know we're
look
ever
like this.
evolving. The only thing I want to think about with you, Tamara, is that we're ever evolving. And so one day we can wake up and feel, I don't want this.
That'd be great.
No, I'm just going to be honest with you. You can say all day, yeah, I can deal with it. But in that reality, I need you to be aware of the fact that we're not always going to be in the same state that we're in.
Right.
Right? I'm not the same person I was last year, I'm pretty sure. 5 years ago, I'm pretty sure I'm not, because we're changing.
Right.
Right? And so the problem comes into relationship is when people don't change together or acknowledge the other person's change. Like, I've changed and you didn't even notice I changed. You still think I like meatloaf, and I don't like meatloaf. Right? That's gonna be a problem. So now you're not gonna eat my meatloaf. No, because you didn't notice that I no longer like meatloaf.
Right.
All right, so there's simple things that really could happen with, I could have just told you, hey baby, you know what? My taste has changed a little bit. You know how I used to love your meatloaf? It's not you. It's not you. Your meatloaf was wonderful. I just don't want meatloaf. Right? I'm changing. That's a way of presenting it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I don't want meatloaf. Or just not eating it because you made it and I didn't tell you that I don't want it. And then you say, you haven't been eating my meatloaf. You used to love my meatloaf. Because probably what gets on my nerves is if you tell me, well, you used to like it. Well, I grew. I grew. I don't like it. Let's talk about alluring, skin deep charm, alluring and attractive, especially during the early stages of the relationship. Then all of a sudden, they work hard to get your attention and they'll seduce you with sex and gifts and all of that. How do you feel when a man just seduces you with sex and all those things? How do you feel?
Great. Oh, excuse me.
I asked Jeff the same question.
I mean, of course, you're gonna welcome it. You're gonna feel good about it. But if it gets too, if I become I might be a little suspicious if you're doing it too much.
No, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna like it.
Yes.
Right? I'm gonna like it. Right? I'm gonna want it. I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna want it. But I'm also
Yes.
going to be awake during the process that you're not gonna always do this. And me, I'm gonna approach it. We're gonna have a conversation. Hey, baby, this is nice. I enjoy it. Oh my God, it was the bomb today. Listen, here's the reality though. Don't start what you can't keep up.
I know that's right.
That right
That's
there.
why these women.
And that goes back
know
Did
that's
you hear the women? I know that's right. I know that's right.
Wow, if what he had going on is what he started with, whatever his hair got going on, the eyelashes, all that, if that's what you came to me with, you're gonna need to maintain that.
But now let's also be real with that too, because there are the times of depression. There's time of just emotional distress. There's time of all kinds of things where sex is not going to be first on the list. So you also got to be very real with your relationship situation. So it's not always that he's bombing you, relationship bombing with sex and gifts and things, because sometimes things will switch up based on what's going on in the person's life. You know what has to happen then? A conversation.
Empathy also.
And empathy.
Exactly.
Instead of me saying, listen, you started this, you had to finish it. That was funny. I love saying it, but in reality, I know that no one is able to keep up with things like that on a consistent basis. Time will bring about some changes. But I also want you to come and tell me that you're having a problem and not just leave me hanging out there. That's the change. That's the thing I'm talking about. If you're going through something and we're not going to be doing the same level of sex, can we have a conversation about it? I had a stroke a couple years ago, and so my pronunciation of words sometimes it's not there. I sometimes bite my tongue, and it's hard to chew gum at times because I'll bite my tongue. Or I may not like my pictures because if you look at the picture, sometimes my face will appear a little twisted. So there are things that I probably feel self-conscious about, and I may not want to talk to. I may say a beautiful woman like you, and I may not want to say anything because I don't know when my words are going to twist. I don't know when things are going to happen, so I may not say that much to you. Or I could get stuck and not want to eat right then and there only because I need my muscle system and nervous system to kind of get itself together. So there are times, and it is financially draining when you have an illness. Because some things insurance covers and some things insurances don't cover, right? And so you have to be conscious and aware, and you want to tell friends, you want to tell family, you want to tell people you're interested in, but you also don't want to be looked upon negatively at the very same time. So before I leave you guys, I want to tell you that, listen, mental illness is not something you should just degrade anybody with. We all have them. And we have to learn how to manage things. And what I want people listening to me to understand, again, I just exposed something to you in terms of, after you have things like a stroke, you can recover, but you're gonna have, it's possible to have some after effects of some things. You could get fatigued early. There's a lot of things that could probably happen to you. And for some people, they've gone through depression and their hair did come out, or their hair did thin, and they do wear things to feel that, to make that happen. Being a herbalist, I had to help myself because my hair started coming out. So I cut all my hair off at one time, and to try to get my hair to balance out. So there are a lot of things that does happen to people. That's what I want you to be aware of. And remember what I'm telling you. Sometimes we have to go to the deepest corner because you want to know what people are really going to do and how people are really going to react. And that's something you have to talk about. Talk about it. What's the worst outcome? And how will you handle the worst outcome? We're so quick to say, oh my God, you did that, you said that. But remember what I'm saying to you. How do you know what you're really going to do if they never challenge you?
That's true.
If you're never challenged, how do you know? Men have some of the same problems women do. Our eyelashes started turning gray. We start feeling bad. We want to go to the place where they can probably pluck them out, knowing they're going to come back stronger. The difference is we may not put the lashes on where you may. However, it doesn't mean that we're not self-conscious of the fact that we no longer look like we used to look. It's just men need to talk a little more about what's going on with them, as opposed to not talking. Is that true?
Right.
Yeah, you need to talk a little more about what's going on. So that's the difference between us and you at times. You may talk about yours, and then you may actually go do something. Where a man may do nothing and just feel bad about that situation. Listen, I'm Dr. John Paul James. When we come back, we're going to talk about a few things that really make some sense, because there's other things that go on in life in general. And this is the time we have to talk about living life. I want to thank Tamara for coming on, the beautiful Tamara. Thank you so much for coming on. And also, thank you so much for Jeff. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. And we're going to be able to soon for you to call in and give us feedback, and also address the questions that you may have. Look for us again. I'm pretty sure that Jeff and Tamara is going to come back and help me very, very soon. We talk to you. Thank you.
Why do you say that?
Because you don't kick nobody out. You real
Yeah.
kind.
It's funny because I actually deal with someone that's literally like that. That's crazy.
And you know what?